Hi everyone, and welcome back to my YouTube channel, Find Your Inner Sparkle. Today we're talking about anxiety. We are talking about one of the top tips that I have found for managing anxiety and for understanding where it comes from, what triggers it, what it kind of means in our body and in our system, so that you can then start to practice this and overcome the snowball effect that sometimes that trigger can have. So sometimes we lose our way with our anxiety. We don't know what to do. We've heard about that we can do some, breathing, but we're like, yeah, but I'm still feeling the anxiety. And then we get worried about the actual effects of the anxiety. And then it turns into full-blown panic and the cycle continues. So stick around and you're going to catch my top tip. So I hope you've got a pen and paper. It's really going to be useful to make a few notes and to practice this. So don't just watch this video, you're scrolling, you're looking for tips, you watch this video and then you forget, you move on to the next thing. Take note and practice. That's what I would say. So first of all, fear is just an emotional response to our internal alarm system. So it's an emotional response to a thought that triggers our internal alarm system. It's usually coming from your thinking, but it happens so fast. You're like, I wasn't even thinking anything, but you will have been doing. Yeah. So you probably don't notice that. You just go from kind of A to Z without crossing through the middle part. The second thing to understand about it is it's an automatic system. It's primal. It's from our ancestors. There's nothing we can do about that system being in place. So some people are like, help me to switch it off. I don't ever want to feel fear again. I don't want to feel anxiety. I don't want to have this. I don't like it. I want to push it away, squash it down, get rid of it. Give me the medication to help, dampen it so that I don't have to deal with it. I don't have to feel it. That's not what you want to do. You want to understand that it's there for a reason. It's just that it's a bit faulty. It's got a little bit out of hand in some people. So for some people and lots of people that I work with, I find are similar to myself in that we are sensitive. We are sensitive creatures. We're highly sensitive. So you might have qualities like people pleasing and perfectionism and, always wanting to push yourself further, to do better, to do more, to reach higher goals and achievements. And you just care a little bit too much, basically. So if that sounds like you, then join the club. Don't worry about it. It's not something that you need to be stuck with. We can put tools in place to help. So I want you to think about your anxiety now from this kind of separate perspective. Like, you are not an anxious person. How many times do we describe ourselves as like, oh, I can't do those things, public speaking, even going on holiday, going on a plane, whatever it is for you, that's for other people because I'm an anxious person, so I just couldn't cope with it. I want you to stop that and start to see yourself as separate from your anxiety. Your anxiety is just like the smoke alarm in your house that is just a bit faulty. Like, the batteries might need replacing, it's gone a little bit wrong, and it's just woo, it's going off all the time. Every time you cook something, every time you try and just cook a piece of toast and it just gets a little bit overdone, burning the toast sets off the smoke alarm and it's ringing in your ears. It's like, just make it stop. It's just some damn toast, right? We're not, the house is not on fire. So what are you going to do about it? Your system has just got a little bit hyper vigilant. So it's like on the lookout for everything and anything that might possibly potentially cause you harm, whether that's a real or imagined threat. So fear is about real and imagined threats. It feels very, very real to us. In that moment, it feels very real and very scary and very frightening. And so the smoke alarm, what should we do? Should we take the batteries out? Is that a good idea? No. Disable the smoke alarm, rip it off the wall. It's not a good idea because it's there for a reason. It's there to protect us from a real threat, a real danger. If the house actually catches fire and we're all asleep in our beds, it's no good if we've took the batteries out. We need some element of fear and panic in order to escape from that very, very real threat and real danger. What we don't want is for it to be triggering and going off all of the time. And when there's not even a real threat, it's just, going off at the drop of a hat. So we could get better at cooking the toast. We could get better at making the dinner so that we don't burn things and the smoke alarm doesn't go off. So that would be a bit like if there are things like going on holiday, heights that you're scared of, public speaking, some things that you want to be able to do that you wish you could do, but your fear just takes you out of the game. We could get better at those things. So we could practice those things, build up slowly, maybe go up one flight of stairs, maybe go up where we know we're safe behind a wall or a nice piece of thick glass and build ourselves. So desensitize ourselves so that we start to gradually grow our comfort zone. We could do that. That's brilliant. That's going to work for those particular events. Eventually, the smoke alarm will get quieter because you'll be like, well, I've done this now. Say you're frightened of going live. I used to be terrified of going live. Doesn't bother me at all now. I've done it so much. So we can just get better at things. That's great, but that's not going to cater for all of the other things that pop up in your life that, come in left field and that you didn't really plan to do, and that, you're on your way somewhere, you've practiced that route, you've learned how to get there, everything's fine, but then boom, there's a diversion and you've got to go another way. And all of a sudden you get flooded with fear and anxiety because this is something outside of the things that you've practiced. So it's not enough just to feel the fear and do it anyway and practice those things. We want to be able to sail through life and check on that alarm system and put something in place that dampens it down no matter what's happening. We want to feel more confident and more resilient and calm throughout anything that might be thrown at us. Yeah, that's why we're here. That's what we want to learn. That's what we want to do. So I have got some tips, just checking my notes. I'm going to give you these 5 steps. So do make a note of them, get them on the notes app on your phone, or write them down on a Post-it. Please practice these, practice, and you will get better at it. So number 1 is to start to feel the fear and do it anyway, because otherwise you're not going to be in a position that sets off the smoke alarm. You're not going to be able to practice, right? If you one of the things you can do with the smoke alarm and the toast analogy is to just never cook again. Just order takeaway, right? We don't want to set that smoke alarm off, so let's just not make any food ever. That's no good. It's going to cost you a fortune. You're avoiding you're putting your head in the sand like an ostrich, and you're just completely avoiding the situation. And this might be the case for some of you. I know that what we can do is try and pretend that it's not there, or we can avoid it by staying indoors, never driving on the motorway, never going on holiday, just holidaying in the country that you live in, avoiding getting on the plane, avoiding people. There's all of these avoidance techniques going on. That is not living, though. It's not what I want for you. I want you to live your life. I want you to do all the things that you want to do. I want you to experience joy and freedom. So avoiding doing anything is not a good idea. So number 1 is to do the thing. Now, if you feel absolutely terrified of going on holiday on a plane, for example, I would say break that down. So maybe you just take a trip to the airport. Maybe you go with a friend and you go, do you know what? You can go in an airport. You can just watch the planes coming in and out, knowing that you're not going anywhere. It will be a baby step towards it. You could just watch programs or YouTube videos about flying, just starting those baby steps. So you don't have to go full in where you know that it's going to be too much for you. Take your time and do those baby steps. Step number 2 is, whilst you're doing those things that you feel have triggered your internal alarm system, you can feel the anxiety, you can feel the symptoms, breathe. So I know that you know this and you get told to breathe, but it's so important because when we trigger our fight or flight, we start to shut down certain parts of our brain, that means we're not able to think rationally and logically. It means that we just panic, we can't think straight. So in the example of the diversion, you're like, oh, what am I going to do? I don't know my way. I'm going to get lost. And so you aren't thinking logically and you aren't taking your time. And it's more likely then that you will get lost or get into an accident because you're panicking. So breathe in, pull over, do some deep breathing. Just take that time just to calm your nervous system down and you'll be able to think more clearly. So step number 3, once you've calmed your nervous system, just take 10 deep breaths, is to recognize and know that all of this is just your internal alarm system. It's your faulty smoke alarm getting triggered. That's all it is. It does not mean that you are in any danger. So step number 4 is to check. Say, hang on a minute. I've calmed myself down. I've recognized what this is. I know what it is. And I'm just going to check now. Is the toast burning? And that's why the alarm's gone off. Or is the house on fire? Now, this step is crucial because you really need to be careful, because what we can do is go, oh, yes, because I'm thinking about something that's going to happen next week and I know what I'm like and it'll probably all end in disaster and your mind will go blah, 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 blah. You have to be disciplined enough. And this is why you need to practice this, to step back and say, no, this is not even happening right now. I'm thinking about something next week, the week after, a month from now. It can't possibly be the case that I am in any physical, actual harm, any danger of harm right now, because it's not even happening now. So whatever the situation, even if it is happening now and you're in a diversion situation or you're on the plane, logically, once you've calmed yourself down, you can think, wait a minute, I've got more chance of actually having an accident if I'm driving in the car than I'm on the plane, or I'm very capable of following the diversion signs and finding another way around. I will make it eventually. You can talk yourself around at that point. So step number 5 is to stay present. So bring yourself into that moment, which you can do by engaging your senses. What can I see right now? What can I hear? What can I taste? What can I smell? What can I touch? So bring yourself into the present moment. So please write those down. Number 1, feel the fear and do it anyway. Get out there and practice. Live your life. Step number 2, breathe. Calm your nervous system. Step number 3, know and recognize that all of this is just a natural trigger in your body designed to keep you safe. It's a sign for you to just have a look, check, take a little bit of an inventory and discern and decide whether you are in any real danger. Step number 4. Step number 5 is to stay present. So I hope that you will practice these tools, and I would love to hear from you. So drop me a comment. Let me know if this has been useful. If it has, and you've got a friend that is struggling with anxiety at the moment, it is a big thing. If you've got a child, if you've got a family member, if you've got a friend or a colleague, tag them in this video, send it to them and say, have a look at this. Let's do this together. Let's conquer our fears and make this the year that we live our lives to the full. My name's Adele from Find Your Inner Sparkle, and if you want some more help and support with this, please do like this video, subscribe to this channel, and you can always get in touch. I've got spaces available for one-to-one coaching. I've got a wonderful course, 30-day course, that it teaches you everything that you need to know about living your life fearlessly and conquering your anxiety. If I can do it, so can you. So I would love to hear from you. Please do practice the steps, take good care, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye for now.